Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Christopher from 𝗨𝗣𝗏𝗧𝗏, and in today's video we will be going over arbitrum. We'll just go through some technical analysis and see where we see arbitrum pulsing over in the next coming week, and see if we can find some traits in there. So starting off like usual with the weekly time frame, we do see that right now arbitrum is in the distribution phase to the downside, and it has been steadily going down. We do have a couple impulsive weeks to the upside, and then we have a correction to the downside, but we are still respecting the lows. We have taken out basically a sweeping this previous low, but then we impulsed away and we are snapping back into the range. We are 3 days and 22 hours away from closing the weekly candle. So at this point, our weekly range high will be this. So we'll just mark that as our range high, and our weekly range low will be the lowest low that was formed on the weekly time frame. And I'll just split that range into 50% for, yeah, there we go. And that's the 50% of the range. So that gives us an idea, a narrative where price is at. I'll just turn off volume at this point. So just keep things clean on the chart. So at this point on the weekly time frame, nothing much to see other than just after price decided to break down, we did a retest of the 50 and now we are coming back down. One more area where we can just have a look at is the weekly time frame. We low basically internal low that was put in, and we have done a mitigation, a tap of that, and we have impulsed away, dropping up down into the daily time frame, fixing up the chart. What do we see? This was the weekly, so we can just mark that as the weekly. I believe, yeah, there we go. And there's a weekly low that was almost tested. We can just make sure they was tested. Okay, so that's 7834, and yeah, so that's equal lows basically, not even tested. So there's something that we can keep in mind that eventually price might want to come down and mitigate that. Other thing that we can have a look at, that is an internal swing point on the daily time frame that is just formed on this bullish order block. Because the reason why it's an order block, because we have an inversion fair value gap and price impulsed away, took out the buy side, and now we're impulsing back down. So the other thing we can do from on the daily time frame is take this low and the high, and we can look at the OTE zones, OTE on the other side. So OTE zones, we do have a 0.79 mitigation, and then we have a push away. We failed to close about a 618, came back down, and now we are just ranging in here. So something to bear in mind that we may even expect a deeper pullback into the range before we start seeing some bullish narrative. On the internal structure side of things, we do have a breaker structure on the daily time frame, so it is bullish. So price broke away, and now we are in a pullback phase. Price can mitigate the deeper discount zones and then give us an impulsive price action. This area will become our next drawn liquidity once price starts to give us a bullish narrative in here, and we will look for some longing opportunities. Earlier, we did catch a nice long in here, caught the whole move to the high, and then we also caught the short from up here down into these lows, and that was also mitigated. So now right at this stage on the daily time frame, we do not have anything other than just some lows that we can mark out and some internal swing liquidity that was taken out. So something like this, number one, and this was this high that took the lows out. So these lows were taken out by these highs, and that was broken up impulsively, but we had a reversal directly from here, and we failed to take this high. So this high still stays in validation point for a bearish move. So if that move goes away, and if this high goes away and we start to break above that, now the price is actually bullish, and now we will have a few equal higher lows put in, something like this, and then we have a break above, and then price wants to retest and go up. But yeah, it's not going to be that straightforward. Price will definitely want to come back down into the range, mitigate, and then find its way to the other side of the price range. So looking at the volume side of things, we do see that on the volume, we did see some nice volume come in accumulation, which pushed the price away, and now we do see that volume on the sell side is decreasing. Price is coming down, and price is forming structure, taking out lows, failing to close below the lows. So when I say that, that's here, failing to close below these lows, retesting, and now impulsing away from there. So I am a little bullish at this point on Arbitrum, but we would want to see some nice bullish volume, positive volume come into Arbitrum as soon as we reach into these lower levels. And yeah, we will look for long opportunities once we're in there. Okay, so dropping down into the 4-hour time frame, what do we have? We have sideways accumulation at this point. So we did a massive drop down into these lows. We did a sweep of this internal swing lows, and now we are just accumulating at this point in here. So that's the weekly low. That was a swing point basically that we marked out. That's the weekly swing. I'll just fix this whole thing up. Turn off volume for a sec, and there and there. So that's the daily invalidation on the 4-hour time frame. What do we have here? We do see that price has pushed. Price came into the 50% of the range, impulsed away, and then broke down. Then at the same time, price came in here, retested the 50, and then we impulsed down into the range, taking out these relative equal lows. And now price is just building structured liquidity on the highs and on the lows. So eventually, price might want to impulse away into this fair value gap that sits in here, come back down, mitigate all these relative equal lows that are sitting there, and then give us a narrative for the bullish side. As internal structure on the 4-hour time frame is still bearish, we are following bearish order flow at this stage. But on the daily time frame, what do we have? We have a bullish narrative and internal structure. Higher time frame structure right now is bullish, and on the internal structure, we are pullback phasing at this point, trying to take the lows out before we start seeing some impulsive price action to the upside, just like what I just said on the daily time frame. So similar to accumulation here, we can just pull this out. These are the relative equal lows on the weekly that were formed. Daily swing point, that's the second gray line. And we can work with this range at this point. So we can just mark out this as our 4-hour range. So that's the high I've taken out. So that's the high we're considering at this point, and that's the low that we're considering at this point. There we go. So that's the low and that's the high. So at this point, if price comes in to the deep discount and breaks below the low, then we will have a continuation to the downside. But if price comes in, breaks the high, something like this, we can expect a pullback into the range and start attacking the 50% of the weekly range again. But at this point, this is the price range we are in on the 4-hour time frame. That's the equilibrium. We can see that price came back down into the 50, impulsed away, failed to go higher. We came in, we mitigated the lower levels in here. We can go into the 15-minute time frame to see what order blocks or inefficiencies were tapped in, which gave us this impulsive price action to the upside, and that the next drawn liquidity on the 4-hour time frame would be this high, this internal swing point. So we can mark that as blue because the high is higher than the previous and the next candle, and internal structure on the 4-hour time frame will be taken out as this. So we can make ranges out of ranges. So 4-hour time frame can be dissected into internal ranges if you're looking on a small time frame entry patterns, basically. So I can just do this, and we can go to the 15-minute, and we can just mark that as a 15-minute range because it's inside the 4-hour. So that gives us a narrative. Okay, like if we are looking for longing entries, where do we go? So dropping down into the 15-minute time frame, looking at that. That's the low that we've selected on the 4-hour time frame. The high price is impulsing at the 4-hour 50, and then the 15-minute time frame is time frame swing range is this. This is the high and the low. We did a mitigation of the fair value gap in here, just right around in there. Fix that up. There we go. And then we had an impulse price action to the downside, and now as we speak, price is impulsing up into that fair value gap. So I'm expecting a correction move in here, probably come back down into this range, into this order block, and then we can start seeing some bullish structure. And this is also creating inducement leg for higher time frame swing points. This is all unmitigated zones. So at this point, I feel we will eventually come down, mitigate the 50 of the 4-hour time frame, which is in confluence with the 50 of the 15-minute, and we can look for some decent longing opportunities. We can have our stops below the lows, and we can just play the internal swing structure in here. but that's just the main setup. But at this point, I'm bullish on Arbitrum. We do have some lower levels that are still pending to be mitigated, but at this point, internal structure looks decent. We have a push away mitigation of the lows, and now we are putting in just basically higher lows, which will get confirmed properly once we have a break above this, break above that high, and then a nice closure above this candle. So yeah, that's my take on Arbitrum at this point. Hopefully you guys like this video. Do check the description down below. We have partnered up with BingX. So if you sign up with the referral link, you will get discounts on the deposits and some bonuses as well. And as always, check out our Discord. The link's down below in the description. Feel free to join us. It's a fun community, and we send out signals and trade setups, and we do live streams and all sorts of educational material. So hope to see you guys there. If not, leave a comment down below. Click the subscribe button, and I'll speak to you guys next time. Take care.